Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Things I Do When I'm Bored. Um, I handled this yesterday, but I didn't get it on video, but I'm going to show you kind of the end result of what it was. Um, I have a pool, as you can hear probably the pool equipment running now. I have a pool over there, and it doesn't have your traditional little creepy crawler, whatever you want to call it, vacuum on the bottom. I have pop-ups. If you don't know what those are, they are these little guys right here. Um, they pop up from the bottom of your pool. There's, depending on the size of your pool, 3 to 4 per quadrant, and they pop up at a time and they shoot air around the bottom of your pool, like right here. You can see those are on right now, right down there. What they do is they shoot air around the pool. Every time they pop up, they turn 25%, and it keeps turning and turning and turning, and then it goes down to the filters and gets sucked out. So it's, instead of having something crawling around your pool and tripping over the hose and all that while you're in there, you have those. Um, but I was having some issues with the air um, pumping out of there while we were in the pool, and it was weird. It was like the sonic waves were like shaking your guts. It made you like want to go to the bathroom. So it was really not convenient to be in the pool when those things were on. Um, Called a couple pool guys. Most of them were, we don't like working on those systems. Well, it's the system that was in the pool when we bought the house 8 years ago, so not a lot I can do about it except deal with it. It's a pretty standard setup here. Cal Spas, or the Californian is this. California Pool and Spas, whatever is what we got. A Jandy system. It's all remote. We got 2 pumps, what have you. So anyway, finally got a guy to come out here, and he was just not worth the $100 I spent to have him come out here because the problem still existed. So what the problem is, air in your system, okay? Well, here's your main pool filter right here, and right here at the top of it, as you can see, this little regulator right here, you can turn. Mine was bad, and so it just wasn't showing pressure. It was old, and he's like, "That's your problem." And I'm like, "It's not the problem, because if you really look, you can see it's holding pressure." But whatever, I put a brand new one on there. You release it, air comes out, not solving the problem. On and on and on, kept going. So what I finally learned was, watching enough videos, putting it together back and forth, is in your intake, your jets here, these lids, if you take them off to clean your screens, like there's a screen in there plus your 4 filters and your main filtration unit, if you take that screen out, there's an O-ring in there. Well, that O-ring not only has to be seated, it has to be cleaned of debris and has to be lubed up. So I know the word lube turns you into a 12-year-old little juvenile every time you say it, but you have to do that. Then, I saw that on several videos. Make sure it's seated, make sure it's not pinched, make sure it's still round, it's not compressed, it's not flat, it's all that. I went through all that stuff and put the lid back on. Okay, I put the lid on, and what my mistake was, I'm a pretty big dude, I think, and I put the lid on, hand tight, cranked it pretty good, and what you can see here is, see how you can't see any water sloshing around or doing anything? I had complete turmoil under it. It was just like crazy waves going around and around and around. Well, that means air is still getting in. So air is only going to happen on this side of the motor right here. So it's going to be in here in the lid, or it's going to be here at this valve, or this connection point, I should say. There's a little O-ring in there too. Well, what had happened is I took that out. I took the O-ring out, cleaned the strainer, excuse me, cleaned the O-ring off, put new lube on it, put it in there, shut it, hand tightened it, good to go. Can't solve the problem. Pool guy comes out here, takes it all apart, does the same thing, puts it back together, can't solve the problem. $100 for nothing. Except for him to tell me, "Oh yeah, it works better, I can tell." Come on. Anyway, what I found is a rubber mallet. A rubber mallet. It was just not tight enough. It just wasn't seated well enough. So I took a rubber mallet, smacked it a couple times on these handles, cinched it up, been working perfect ever since. So I don't know if this helps at all. Like I said, I was almost a year trying to have people come out, tell me what the problem was, not come out, not show up and call them, or just deal with it in the pool, or you turn off the system while people are in the pool, so you don't get irritated by all that nonsense. And it sucks because it's when the system's on, it basically makes the waterfall go. And so that's kind of part of the whole thing of, you know, being in the pool, the serenity of the waterfall. But yeah, so if you're having problems with any of your jets, I mean, these things were just like kicking up all kinds of like geysers underneath the water. So if that's an issue, I would say number one thing, check your water level right here. Make sure it is at least a quarter to halfway over your opening there where the basket goes. Check that, and then check your seal, and then check that connection point where the section is, and make sure, it might take you a few times. It took me a few times, but make sure you take that seal out. It's clean. Wipe down the surface areas. Everything that touches, make sure it's clean as hell. Then lube. I know, funny as still. Lube up that seal, and then put it back in there, hand tighten it, and then just give it a couple taps with a rubber mallet. Don't wail away on it, and don't use a regular hammer. Use a nice rubber mallet. It's plastic, it will break. You know, maybe even put your hand on one handle and then push on the other. But yeah, and you should have no more problems. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down there in the comments below, and I'll try to get to it. This is things I do when I'm bored, so please like it, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, and every time a new video pops up of me doing something else, I'll let you know. Thanks.